Hello and welcome to Asia Gaming Brief's podcast series. Today I'm talking with Tham. Gary's the Director of Strategic and Planning at the Jinbei Group, which operates the Jinbei resorts in Sihanoukville, Cambodia. We talk about the changing face of that market since the departure of the online industry and how Gary sees the future shaping up. Firstly, how was the initial opening? How was the demand from clients? How's it been going before the COVID hit?
I think in the first 3 weeks we had very good business. It's just phenomenal to me, in a sense that in this place, the player demand, as you're aware, in Sihanoukville, most of the players here are more VIP driven. We don't have much mass market here, but it seemed to be picking up in August. But back then in March, before the COVID time, it's all on VIP segments, and the business is really, really good.
Are those VIPs, are they tourists coming in or are they local businessmen working there?
We have a good mixture. I would say 70-30. 70 would be tourists, yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So many of them actually do lake tours. They stop by Sihanoukville, then they fly off to wherever they go next through Phnom Penh.
And obviously, there's been a lot of bad publicity about Sihanoukville because of the rampant construction. You've said you've seen an improvement now.
As a matter of fact, we got better roads now. I'm very sure that you'll be pleased when you're gonna travel here. There's no more bumpy roads. Everything is in concrete. There's bright lights during the night. You just feel much safer where the streets are no longer dark. Everything is just brightly lit. In terms of roads, everything is good. During the road works, they actually redo the sewer system and also the water system. So everything is, as a matter of fact, it's falling in place, which is a very good thing for Sihanoukville. And we do have very close contacts with the Ministry of Tourism. And we do understand the fact that tourism would be the way to go for Sihanoukville itself, given the fact that they had beautiful beaches here. So that's where the direction is heading towards tourism, mass market tourism.
And in terms of the number of operating casinos in Sihanoukville now, do you know roughly how many there are? Because I understand quite a few shut down after the ban on online gaming.
I don't really have the exact number, but just by looking at how things is, at least 50% of them is gone.
Yeah.
It's mainly the big brands that is still in town operating, and majority of the players nowadays, especially after the COVID time, they tend to lean towards the proper brands, like ourselves, Jinbei, and a few of our competitors. It's just mainly that 5 or 10.
So this is presumably because of the perception of increased security with you and hygiene being put in place properly.
Correct. So we actually had we are actually the first few casinos in Sihanoukville to receive the approval from the Ministry of Health to reopen the business. I mean, being said that simply because we are in full compliance with the requirement from the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Health. And that sort of gave our customers a good level of confidence in terms of safety. And also that in Jinbei itself, our property, I do dare to claim that we are the only operator in Sihanoukville with the most games. I mean, from American roulettes, Caribbean starts, even some really, really old school games like Fan. I'm not sure if you know.
I've heard of Fan, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like a bunch of buttons where you just script it off and you buy the possibility of the buttons. So yeah, we had the most games in town at the moment, so that's something that I'm very sure of.
Right. We one thing that was quite noticeable when we visited and I know is a trait of the Cambodian market, was it's all cash. Post-COVID, do you see any change there? And are people starting to phase out cash?
It's not so much because of COVID. I think it started off by these few big brands. Back then, when you first visit Jinbei, like Jinbei One, we are already on chips. So we sort of continued that sort of trend because end of the day, if we do cash, it slows the game's pace. It creates risks and things like that. So I would say that majority of the casinos now, we do accept cash bets, but payouts will be in chips.
So you're now like I said, you're open again. You've seen the VIPs come back. Are you? What kind of measures are you having to take? What kind of capacity are you allowed?
In terms of the number of guests, or
In terms of on the gaming floor, do you have to have every other machine turned off, or what are the restrictions in Cambodia?
ah, um, that's pretty much. I mean, what we're doing here now. I mean, that's as per the requirement from the ministry. It's pretty much aligned with all over the world. So we had one machine to be turned off in every bank. So if it's a bank of 3 machines, you have to turn off 1 or 2. As for tables, you have to skip a player. So if it's a table for 5, you can only accommodate 3 person. So it's like seat number 1, number 3, and seat number 5.
Right. And that must have an impact on revenue though, does it?
Not really from my perspective, because when we have controlled amount of people who can bet on the table, we actually open up more tables. So that actually created a faster game pace. So, I mean, games proceed faster because you just have 3 sets of chips to pay off or to collect. So everything is actually more efficient in that case. When we reopen, there's a bit of resistance from the players as usual, because there's always a hot table or popular table where everybody would come by. So, but unfortunately, that wasn't allowed. People are not supposed to cluster around for the sake of prevention. So it took them a while, and they pretty much got used to what's happening now. Like with our dealers had their face shields on, alcohol scrubs every half an hour. We sanitize our chips, we sanitize the cards. So they're pretty much used to what we do on the table now. And they're also very used to what they are supposed to do on the table, like getting their hands clean before doing certain actions and things like that. So we had like alcohol bottles on every table, every slot machine.
I guess you're very lucky that you've got the space that you can open those extra tables. I suppose that's quite fortunate for you. Yeah.
I mean, we're quite a big property.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what about your staff? Have you managed to keep all of your staff?
Unfortunately, no, we didn't manage to keep all, but we managed to keep majority of them. I mean, given the fact that we've been required to close down our operations since April till August, so that's actually a fair share of time with all the operating expenses, and we had over 2,000 employees. So we work it out with many of our employees to put them on no pay leave, and we also put them on job rotations. So it's like a person's salary to be split into half. So at least 2% get some sort of salary in some sense to support their family and things like that. We do our best for them. And we also partnered with some partner hotels and some of our competitors. For those who are hiring, we actually do also recommend our staff to our competitors. Yeah.
Right. But do you see, if I just to summarize, how would you see the future for Sihanoukville now? Do you see it starting from a healthier base, and once this COVID has gone, you see a bright future, or?
That's for sure. It's gonna be bright for sure. But the really, really good times, I mean, for VIP rolling market, the really, really good times, I believe that it's gone and it's not gonna come back anymore unless online gaming comes back. And because the amount of money that we're talking about, it's just a different ball game. It's just a different ball game from online to land-based casino. But back then, when the online is around, you have people who make millions of dollars in a day or two, and easy come, easy go. I mean, they do spend their money, but those times are gone. I mean, like I said, because simply because the government has decided to put a stop towards online gaming. I mean, that's as far as I'm concerned till today. But the times is going to be good in the future, in a sense where it's corrected. Corrected in a sense where this place will not just attract casino tourists, like gaming tourists, but it's going to focus more on the mass market tourists. They're going to focus on the beach. They're going to focus on the cultural thing here.